On 8 July, the Commission sent you a request for the submission of the 5-year declaration of assets and personal interests. And on the 13th of July, you submitted your 5-year declaration. The Commission also asked candidates to voluntarily complete and submit an ethics questionnaire, and you did so on the 1st of July. The Commission sent you 4 rounds of questions on 9 September, 7 October, 18 November and 29 November, respectively. You were asked a total number of 26 questions, including 77 subparts, and 41 of those questions included a request for further documentation. According to Article 3, Paragraph 4 of the evaluation rules, a candidate may not provide information, documents, or other materials during the hearing if the Commission requested these earlier and the candidate did not provide them within the time specified, unless, of course, the candidate provides sufficient justification, therefore. Members of the Commission will now start with asking you questions, and in this case, Mrs. Victoria Hanley will start with asking questions. We will try to keep our questions short and to the point, and we ask you that your answers be short and to the point as well. Victoria, you have the floor. There's no sound, Victoria.
My apologies.
Yeah.
Good morning, Judge. The first thing I would like to ask you about has to do with the source of funds for the purchase of a Chisinau apartment and the Crew Lane land plot and unfinished construction in 2012. I'll first read you some facts and then have some questions. In 2012, you and your husband purchased 2 properties. A 92 square meter apartment in Chisinau that was purchased for 602,000 lei approximately, and a land plot of 0.0799 half acre auxiliary construction of 22.3 square meters and an individual house of 149.1 square meters in Crew Lane that was purchased for 300,000 lei, paid in 2 installments. 30,000 lei at the signing of the sale purchase contract and 270,000 lei a month later. In written communication with the Commission, you stated that the funds used to purchase the apartment in Chisinau and the first installment for the purchase of the properties in Crew Lane were your husband's and your cash savings from your salaries and funds received from relatives. You informed the Commission that you and your husband had saved between 20 and 40% of your monthly income since the early 1990s. Your savings also included the proceeds from the sale in 2011 of a studio apartment in Chisinau for approximately 175,000 lei. The remaining amount of cash savings required for the purchases was roughly 458,000 lei. I'll begin by asking you some questions to establish the facts. Hopefully these can be answered with a yes or no response. Later I'll ask you some questions that will seek greater detail or explanations. First, can you please confirm that you and your husband purchased the 2 properties in 2012 for approximately 602,000 lei and 300,000 lei, and that after applying the proceeds of the 2011 sale of your studio apartment for approximately 175,000 lei, the total amount of cash that you were required to contribute was around 457,000 lei.
Microphone is not on.
Da, confirm.
Yes, I do confirm.
Thank you. And you've indicated that the source of cash needed for the purchases were the proceeds from the sale of a studio apartment in Chisinau in 2011, accumulated savings and assistance from both of your parents. Is that correct?
Da.
Yes.
And with respect to your savings, you and your husband had saved between 20 to 40% of your monthly income since the early 1990s. Is that correct?
Da.
Yes.
And do you recall your approximate annual salary in the 1990s?
No, I don't remember this. It was so long ago.
And likewise, do you recall your husband's approximate annual salary in the 1990s?
No, I cannot recall.
To accumulate 457,000 lei savings over 20 years, you would have had to save about 22,800 lei a year. Is that correct?
Possible. I didn't make calculations. Possible.
Okay, I'm not getting translation.
It's possible, she said. She didn't make calculations, but it's possible. Can you hear us, Victoria?
Okay. In 2007, when you became a judge, your annual salary was 43,874,000 lei, correct?
If it's in my declaration, it's correct. Can you hear us, Victoria? Can you hear us? She's saying that if it's in the declaration, it must be it.
Your husband was a judge at the time, and was his salary about the same as yours?
Yes. Yes. Can you hear us, Victoria?
Okay.
Victoria, can you hear us?
So if you had been saving about
Ok, deci dacă ați fi
22,800
economisit, să zicem,
20% of your salaries, correct?
Possible. I didn't make mathematical calculations. I cannot say. Victoria, can you hear us?
I'm sorry, I'm not getting any sound. I'm not getting any interpretation.
Can you hear us in the room? Herman, can you hear us in the room? So it's apparently the problem with the connection with Victoria. She's not getting translation.
Yeah, let's try to fix that first before we go on. Over here we can clearly hear the interpretation. Mrs. Cupcea, can you please speak a bit louder in the microphone? I think it was not coming through, so if you can speak a bit louder, that would be good.
Bine.
Okay.
Okay, I will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We're back on track.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Okay, so my last question was, now I'm getting terrible feedback. Oops, there we go. Okay, so if you'd been saving approximately 22,800 lei a year, that would have been approximately 20% of yours and your husband's salaries, correct?
It's possible. I didn't make mathematical calculations, but it's possible.
Okay. And in the year 15 years prior to 2007, were your and your husband's salaries less than they were in 2007?
Yes, they were lower, our salaries.
Okay. So in those years, the years prior to 2007, you would have had to have saved a greater percentage of your salaries, correct?
Yes.
With respect to the financial assistance from your parents and your husband's parents, you're unable to estimate the amount of financial contributions that you received from them, correct?
I cannot estimate because it was during the whole life of my parents and my husband's parents. So from 1987, when I left my parents, they continued to help me while I was a student and after that, so nothing changed. After I got married, I got my child, I started my work. The mentality of my parents parents didn't change. We always stayed children for them, and they always would financially support us. This was on a regular basis till 2017, when they both died. My parents, my mom and my husband's mother, they died in the same year, 3 months apart. And they always supported us with food products from the village, with money, all their savings. They were giving everything to us.
And you've indicated that you kept your savings at home rather than in a bank, correct?
Yes, I would keep them at home. I never kept the money in the bank because I didn't trust the bank. And when the Republic of Moldova actually became independent, we had a huge inflation, and not only my parents, many lost all the money in the bank. It's more than 40,000 rubles. It was a huge amount in those times. So they lost the money, and they taught us, their children, never to trust the bank, never to keep the money in the bank, so we didn't.
Okay. And so you have not produced any records or confirmatory documents regarding your cash savings or its use towards the purchase of the properties, correct?
Yes, no, because we don't have any bills. I mean, we had only cash, and it was so long ago, and we didn't keep for 20 years any records.
Next, I'd like to ask about the source of funds to pay off a loan of 270,000 lei, approximately 13,500 euros, that was contracted in 2012. On 23 October 2012, you and your husband contracted a loan in the amount of 270,000 lei for the period of 2012 through 2030 at a 13% interest rate from a bank in Moldova. The purpose of the loan was to pay off the second installment of 270,000 lei towards the purpose of the Krulane land plot and unfinished construction. The loan was paid off less than 2 years later on 6 June 2014 with a payment of 246,250 lei. According to your answers to written questions from the Commission, the sources of money used to pay off the loan were the sale of 4 lots of land by your mother, the pension of your father-in-law transmitted as a financial contribution, financial contributions from your parents and father-in-law, and the contributions of your husband's sibling. When asked for further detail about these funds, you did not provide details about the number of plots of land sold by your mother, explaining that it may have been more than 4 plots, the dates of the transactions, and the amounts of proceeds from the sales. You did indicate that your mother also had savings from the sale of birds, eggs, fruits, and vegetables. And as to your father-in-law's pension that he gave to you while he was living on your mother-in-law's pension, you did not provide an indication of the total amounts received, but indicated that his pension was around 5,000 lei, which you said he gave all to you over the last 2 or 3 years of his life. You also did not estimate the amount of other financial contributions from your mother and your husband's parents. As to the contributions from your husband's sibling, you indicate that you took care of the sibling's child for 5 years, starting in 2003. You did not estimate the amount of financial contributions you received from your husband's sibling. And you also provided no documentation except the credit agreement regarding the loan and the bank statement confirming the payments for reimbursement of the loan. I'll begin by asking you some questions. Please confirm that the loan in the amount of 270,000 lei that you and your husband contracted for in 2012 was paid off in 2014 with a payment of 246,250 lei.
Da.
Yes.
Da.
And you've indicated that the source of funds used to pay off this loan were the sale of lots by your mother, the pension of your...
Victoria, can you still hear us? Don't think so.
I think it's lost.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, 2 minutes you can announce the candidate and...
Victoria, are you back?
Am I back?
Well, your voice is back, but the video not yet. I think we're working on it, so just be with us for 1 minute. We're nearly there. It should come in now. And now we have you back, I think.
Okay.
Can you
hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. Can you start repeating the second question, I think, to get started there again?
I will.
Okay, thank you.
And my apologies to the candidate. You have indicated that the source of funds used to pay off the loan were the sale of 4 lots of land by your mother, the pension of your father-in-law, which had been transmitted as a financial contribution, other financial contributions from your parents and father-in-law, and the contribution of your husband's sibling. Is that correct?
Da.
Yes.
Okay. And when asked for further detail about these funds, you did not provide details about the number of plots of land sold by your mother, explaining that it might have been more than 4, the dates of the transactions, and also the amount of the proceeds from the sales. Is that correct?
Da.
Yes.
But you did indicate that your mother also had savings from the sale of birds, eggs, fruits, and vegetables. Is that correct?
Da.
Yes.
Okay. But your mother's sale of the land plots and contributions of the proceeds to you did not all occur in 2014, correct?
Eu nu cunosc, nu mi-amintesc.
I don't
acum
remember
că
right
eu
now.
am
I have explained that this was just an example, those 4 pieces of land, because it could have been more. I don't know the whole details. I don't know exactly in what period she sold those. Those cadastre codes, I kept them just as, I mean, it was something that just some papers that I put aside. And I showed them to the commission to prove that my mom had additional income. She was not living only out of her pension. But I remember that in total, she had at least 6 big plots of land where we used to work. I used to work with my mom as a child. I don't have all the cadastre codes of that and in what period she sold them, but because I left that locality from 1987, I don't know exactly to whom she sold it, when she sold those plots. She used to just tell me, but it was so long ago. I know that she sold 1 plot to a lady, then a few plots together to a man. She was giving me his name, but it was, again, a long time ago. One was with a vineyard, the other was just agricultural land. At least from what I remember, when I was a child, we had 6 big lots of land where we would work in the agricultural period. And to be honest, in the last years, she didn't have any land in her ownership. She died in 2017, and a few years before 2017, she already have sold all her land. So it was quite difficult to track. And she sold it because she was unable to work it anymore. And all the savings, all the incomes, she would give to us.
My question is whether all of the contributions that she gave to you were given in the year 2014 or if they were given over time before 2014.
Actually, it was not only in 2014. She was giving me money all the time, all my life. She would contribute it. We also had a situation when some thieves entered into her house. She was alone. She was living without my father since 1989, and she even thieves even stole money and birds from her household, food from her basement. And oftentimes she was leaving to the daily market to sell her products, and a few times thieves came during those days and stole money from her house. That is why, additionally, as one more reason, she was always giving us the money. She said, "You are building, you have 2 kids, you need money, and I don't want to keep money at home. Please just take it." And she said, "I'm going to, as the Moldovan tradition says, I'm going to accumulate money only for my funeral." She says, "The only savings I need is for a place in the cemetery and my funeral, because I don't want you to pay any penny for my funeral. I want this to come from my savings." That is why she was always telling us, "You always should know that you will pay funerals from my own money, but I don't want to keep this money in my house. Take it and keep it at your house, because I don't want again the thieves to come and take away my money." So these were oftentimes her explanation, that take this money because you will be the one taking care of my funerals.
And as to your father-in-law's pension that he gave to you, you did not provide an indication of the total amounts received, but indicated that his pension was around 5,000 lei, which you said he gave to you over the last gave all to you over the last 2 to 3 years of his life. Is that correct?
Vreun 2 ani, cred.
2 years. I would say 2 years because he died in the summer of 2013. And approximately, I cannot give you dates, but approximately, and I asked my husband about this because I was not aware. My husband, he was responsible of that. And he had a quite big pension. For those times, this was a big amount. And he worked at the Ministry of Internal Affairs. He was a teacher. He was a mathematician, and he was also a school principal. And then he had another leadership function in a penitentiary, so he had quite a good salary. And then he worked at the police inspectorate. And his pension was a big pension. And it was also increasing. At that time in the Republic of Moldova, that was a big amount. But again, this was my husband who was managing that. So before he died, what I know is that his pension was approximately 5,000 lei per month. And usually my husband would go and take the money, and he would just come and tell me, listen, this is the money from my father, just put it on our savings. Sometimes 3,000, sometimes 5,000, sometimes more.
Okay, and that was in the years prior to 2014, so perhaps 2012 and 2013, is that correct?
From the father-in-law until 2013, and after that the mother-in-law was helping until 2017. And my mother.
Also, did not estimate the amount of other financial contributions from your mother and your husband's parents, correct?
I cannot estimate that.
Okay, but these weren't all made in 2014, but were made over the previous years, correct?
Yes, over the years.
And as to the contribution, oops, pardon me, did you have something else?
No, over the years, she was saying.
Okay. And as to the contributions from your husband's sibling, you indicated that you took care of the sibling's child for 5 years starting in 2003, and you did not estimate the amount of financial contributions you received from your husband's sibling, correct?
De la sora, da.
Yes.
But those contributions would have been primarily from 2003 to 2008 when you were caring for the sibling's child, correct?
Da.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So it appears that the funds you used to pay off the loan in 2014 were received during the years prior to 2014, correct?
Dacă de la sora soțului, da.
If you talk about funds from the sibling of my husband, yes.
And I was talking about the other contributions from your father-in-law and your parents.
De la socru tot până în 2014.
From the father-in-law, it was also until 2014, but from mother and from mother-in-law, it was until 2017.
Right, but I'm talking about the funds that were used to pay off the loan in 2014. Those were received not all in 2014, but in the years prior, the contributions from your other family members.
Da.
Okay.
Da.
Yes, yes.
So my question is, if the funds you used to pay off the loan in 2014 were received during years prior to 2014, and if you'd accumulated them as savings, why did you need to take out the loan of 270,000 lei in 2014? Or in 2012?
because they were not enough. We purchased this land plot based on contracted loan because we did not have enough funds. When it comes to the construction, that's general entire story. At that time, in 2012, we didn't even think that we will build a house. That was a transaction, as my husband explained to me, because I was very much against the loan. I was always against loans. I don't know, maybe that's my mindset, maybe Soviet type mindset, because my parents always set savings in the banks but not taking loans from banks. In Soviet times, you were not taking loans from the bank. People were depositing money and getting a certain interest from that, having some income. I know this is how my parents lived. And for me, it was something like excluded, no loans, especially because you need to set a collateral for that. I was afraid of such things. I was against, and I was explaining my husband, because if we lived for 20 years and 33 square meters, then in 90 square meters we live more. And I don't want, I know we don't have income, and at the time, as I was thinking, we'll never have enough income to build a house. That was not realistic at that time. That's what I was thinking. I didn't want that. We had several discussions, and he convinced me in the following way, saying that we take this loan to buy it because the real estate never gets cheaper. Prices keep growing. And this is a good price. For that time, that was a very good price. And he told me, let's buy it, and then in 1 or 2 years, we can sell it, and we will get back both the loan amount and the interest that we pay to the bank, and we will have some extra money on that. That was the idea. At least this is how he convinced me to take the loan, because it will be a beneficial transaction and we will get some more income besides the salaries. But in 1 or 2 years, our salaries increased significantly. Members of the commission that are from Moldova, they know how many discussions were in the society when salaries of judges were suddenly increased very much. Like for the international members, if I can say, from 5,000-6,000 lei, it moved to 16,000-17,000 lei. And for us, that was a lot. It was significant. We were used to live with those smaller salaries, always making some savings. That was in my blood, you know, trying to make savings all the time, to have a modest living, to manage with what I have. So I got, well, it was a habit of mine to always try to make savings. And when I saw these salaries that were very big for us, and they also indexed, so until 2018 our salaries were indexed permanently, and now it's over 20,000, quite significantly over 20, and my husband's pension is over 20,000, and it's more than my salary. And when we saw that we get this money, we decided that we don't sell it, we keep it, and somehow, step by step, slowly we will finish it. And then my parents help, and since 2014 we have only one dependent, only one child, because the son already had graduated by that time. He was working, he had a job, and he was contributing to the budget of the family. So we decided that we will build a house. And in 8 years, indeed, saving, getting help until 2017, having help from the parents, then 2019, 2020, and 21, help from our son, because since 2017 he moved to the United States, and in 2018 he provided a quite significant contribution. He came back in July, but more significantly he helped us more in 2019, because in 2018 we contracted another loan. Again, I was very much against it. I said, we have a place to live. I don't want to build the house based on loans. But my husband again insisted a lot, so my son and I were against the loan in order not to pay that interest to the bank. But my husband insisted a lot because he was over 50 years of age, and as he was saying, he said, I want to manage to even live in that house, not only to build it, because it's been 8 years since we work on that. So we take the loan and finish it soon, because if we don't take a loan, we will not manage to finish it in 2 years. We will do it in 4 or 5 years, but I am 53 years old and I want to have some time to live there as well. So again, we took another loan in 2018, and as I say, my son and I were very much against it, and that's why he helped us starting 2018, 19, 20, and 21. He was giving us money that he was earning from his savings.
And we'll get to that loan in just a minute. I just have a couple of questions remaining about the payoff of the loan in 2014.
Victoria, can I briefly interrupt? Can you try to keep the paper a bit lower, because it's just in front of the camera, so we only see the back of the papers when you read out the text. Yeah, sorry for that. Thank you.
All right. With respect to the loan payoff in 2014, the only documentation that you provided to the Commission regarding the loan payoff was the credit agreement and the bank statement confirming that the payments had been made to pay off the loan. Other than that, you were not able to provide any documentation, such as from the sources of funds used to pay off the loan. Is that correct?
Yes, I said that it was our salaries and help from parents.
Okay. And just with respect to the loan, the payoff of the loan in 2014, is there anything you wish to add or clarify on this issue?
I already said salaries increased significantly, and we had the possibility to reimburse it before the due date.
You did not declare the funds received from relatives for the 246,000 lei payment to close the loan in any of your NIA declarations. In response to written questions, you stated that you did not declare these contributions because, according to Article 4, Paragraph 3 of Law Number 1264 of July 19, 2002, the valuation of the property is carried out according to the legislation by indicating the value mentioned in the document certifying the origin of the property, and that these did not include donation contracts. The loans that you'd received did not include donation contracts. And that, in fact, it was extended family, and that you had assisted the parents and family members with physical work, and they in turn had helped with material support. You also indicated that under Article 2 of Law Number 1264, family members are a spouse, minor, children, and dependents, and therefore the income from the parents did not have to be declared because they didn't fall under the scope of family members according to the law. And you stated that the material support provided by the parents cannot be interpreted as a donation under the legislation. Please confirm that you did not declare the funds received from relatives to close the loan in any of your NIA declarations as income, donation, gifts, or otherwise.
Nu le-am declarat.
I did not declare.
Dacă poți fac
According
și
to
o
our-
Can I provide an explanation here?
Yes.
legea, da? În legea care era în vigoare
In
la
the
acel
law
moment,
valid at that time,
era așa o
there was
noțiune,
such a
diferența
notion,
vădită,
like a
diferența dintre proprietatea
significant
dobândită
difference
și veniturile
between the
obținute
acquired property
care
and the
depășește
obtained
de cel
income
puțin
that is
6
at
ori
least
salariul
6
mediu
times
lunar
bigger than the
dobândit în
average
perioada
monthly
de
salary
declarare
obtained
de
during
către
the declaration
subiectul
time by the
declarării și
declarant
membrii familiei
and
acestora.
by his or her family
Poate și
members.
acesta era un
I think that
motiv
maybe
pentru
that
care
was another
consideram
reason
că nu este necesar de,
why I believed it was not necessary to
în
declare.
primul rând, nu-s donații,
First of
în al
all,
doilea
these
rând,
were not
considerat
donations.
că
Secondly,
nu depășea
it was not exceeding
salariul
by
mediu
6
lunar.
times the monthly average salary.
According to Article 4 of Law 1264, in force since 2012, the person making an income and asset declaration is required to declare income obtained together with family members during the declaration period. And income is defined as any increase, addition, extension of the patrimony, regardless of the source or origin, expressed in patrimonial rights or in any other patrimonial benefit obtained by the subject of the declaration or by the members of their families during the reference period, both in the country and abroad. Do you believe that you were not required to declare the monetary contributions from family members under that law?
Atunci așa am crezut.
That's what I believed at that time.
Atunci eu nu primeam ajutoare.
Then I did not perceive this help from parents as an increase of patrimony.
Erau niște,
These
eu le
were-
consideram ajutoare
I
materiale,
believe that that was some
financiare,
financial
care
support,
constau în susținerea
so which consisted of,
familiei mele și
well, supporting
nu le
my
apreciam
family,
ca,
and I did not perceive
majorare
them
a
as any
patrimoniului
increase
familiei
in
mele.
the property of my family.
Okay. And I believe you stated that you didn't declare them because of referring to the law on the valuation of the property, if it doesn't exceed a certain percentage. But that provision has to do with the valuation of property, not what has to be disclosed as income. Is that correct?
Da, de
Yes,
evaluare.
it is about evaluation.
Okay. And you also indicated that family members are spouse, minor children, and dependents, and therefore the income from the parents didn't have to be declared because they didn't fall under the scope of family members. But reference to the family members in the law is to the individuals receiving the income that has to be disclosed. Isn't that correct?
N-am înțeles întrebarea.
I did not understand the question.
Okay. The reference to family members in the law that you referred to and said that you didn't have to, parents were not family members, but the reference in the law to family members is to the individuals receiving the income that has to be disclosed, correct? Not who the contribution is coming from.
Da, venitul membru.
Yes, it's the income of a family member.
Okay. And the reference to the family members is to the individuals receiving the income, not the ones that are contributing the funds.
Cred că da.
I think so. I think yes.
Okay. Is there anything you'd like to add or clarify about this issue, the non-disclosure of the financial contributions from family members?
Poate
Maybe now I see it as a mistake, you know. In the law on declaration and control of income and property of people holding public dignitary positions of 19 December 2011. In December 2011, it has amended significantly. It was even republished in the official gazette. And I remember how much it stirred the opinions about among declarants, because it was amended significantly and there were many notions, definitions that were not clear to us. We were thinking, how should we interpret them? I remember us calling each other. It was December 19th. I mean, it was the end of the year. We were supposed to start filing the declarations, and we were calling the SCM, and I was trying to find out, and well, many notions were not clear. It was complicated for us, and well, now we have there is an adopted regulation by the National Integrity Authority, by the order of its president. So there is a regulation on the on fulfilling the assets and personal interests declaration. But then, just before we had to file the declarations, lots of changes happened in the law, and it wasn't clear, and we could make many mistakes and errors. Unintentional.
And I believe that one of the other commission members has a question on this subject.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, Nadia, you have a question. Go ahead. Yep.
Madam Cupcea, my question is the following. Indeed, the declaration regime, the legal rules were amended, but you are a subject of declaration at least since 2012. And since 2012, you annually were filing declarations. When the Commission asked you about these declarations, you provided some explanations that Madam Henley presented, and you confirmed that are not aligned to any provision or interpretation. And that's why my question is, how did you interpret in your answers the reference to that significant difference that has no connection with the obligation to declare donations? And then secondly, the definition of a family member, which again has no connection with the way that the declarant has to declare all donations and gifts received, etc. Now, during the hearing, you said that maybe I made a mistake. But since you are a declarant for so many years, so which answer should we accept? What you said in writing? I mean, do you confirm that? Or what you said now, that maybe you were mistaken? Which options? Maybe probably I was mistaken. I tried to explain how I was thinking back then. I made reference in a hurry because we had very little time. For round 3, I had only a couple of hours to answer because I was on a business trip. I wasn't in the country. I only arrived Sunday night. And until the end of the day until the end of Sunday, I had to provide explanations. So I just had a couple of hours. Maybe I shouldn't even make reference to this significant difference, but especially since 2016, there is an express provision in Article 4 paragraph 3, that there is an exception for declaration are gifts received by the declarant or received for free from family members, from parents, siblings, or their children, the value, the accumulated value of which during a year is not exceeding 10 average salaries per annum. That is more correct. Moreover, on 29 October 2021, this notion was this that does not exceed the individual value of 10 average salaries. So since October 2021, we have a notion of accumulated value during a year.
Are you okay? Are you finished? Yeah, okay, Victoria, we can continue with you. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'm turning now to an issue regarding the source of funds to pay off the loan of 540,000 lei, which I think you began referring to earlier, which was a loan that was contracted in 2018. You and your husband contracted a loan of 540,000 lei in 2018 for a period of 2018 through 2028 at 7% interest from a bank in Moldova. The purpose of the loan was to complete construction for the house in Culane that you had purchased in 2012. The loan was paid off in 2020. According to your response to written questions from the Commission, a payment of 182,000 lei was made on 7 April 2020. Two other payments were made, 100,000 lei on 3 September 2020 and approximately 165,000 lei on 7 October 2020. You then indicated that funds from your son in the amount of 150,000 lei were used in the last two payments. So according to your calculations, you and your husband made payments on the loan in 2020 that totaled approximately 297,000 lei. And you were asked by the Commission about the source of funds for the payments of 297,000 lei in 2020. You informed the Commission that once the loan was taken in 2018, you paid the expenses for the maintenance of your family, and your husband made the loan payments from his pension. The amount of 297,000 lei was paid between April and October 2020, and that included your husband's pension accumulations for several months, the income from his activity as an attorney, family savings because you did not start the new year with zero funds in your account. Please confirm that in 2020, you and your husband paid off a loan of 540,000 lei that you had contracted in 2018.
Да, correct.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And three payments of 182,000 lei, 100,000 lei, and 164,670 lei were made between April and October 2020 to pay off the loan, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. And 150,000 lei was contributed by your son, correct?
Да, 150
Yes, 150 was part of these big amounts, but his money was at home, and as often as we needed, we were taking money from him, because when he left money with us, he said, you either invested in the house or pay off the loan. Use it as you want, but I would like you to pay off the loan as soon as possible. My opinion is that you should reimburse the loan, not to pay interest to the bank. He had such an expression, don't make the bank richer on your account. So I would like you to pay off the loan as soon as possible, and that's why I'm giving you the money, but you decide how to use it. And since 2018 until 2021.
Okay. So the remaining approximately 297,000 lei was paid by, in 2020, was paid by you and your husband, correct?
I did not understand the question. Please, could you repeat it?
N-am auzit-o bine.
I didn't hear it very well, so repeat the question, please.
Okay, so we established that the total amount of payments in total amount of payments in 2020 totaled, there were three payments of 182,000 lei, 100,000 lei, and 165,000 lei, and your son contributed 150,000. So my question is just that the remaining amount that was paid off in 2020 was 296,000 lei roughly, and that was paid by you and your husband, correct?
Da.
Yes.
All right. And when you were asked about the source of funds for those payments, you informed the commission that once the loan was taken, you paid expenses for the maintenance of your family and your husband made the loan payments from his pension. And so the amount of money paid between April and October 2020 of 297,000 included your husband's pension accumulated for several months, the income from his activity as an attorney, and family savings, which you'd had at the start of the year, correct?
Corect.
Correct.
And do you recall how much you had in savings at the start of 2020?
No, I don't remember. I think I provided an approximate calculation to the commission answering the questions. Let me try and open and see that. In the last round of questions, I submitted a calculation.
Okay, so I see that I wrote here 484,189 lei. This is the amount that is saved, like savings for 2020. Thank you.
And pardon me, could you give me that number again?
484,000 okay, so 484,189 lei.
Okay, and that's the amount that you had in savings at the start of 2020, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Oricum e cu aproximații.
This is approximate.
All right. So you did not declare any cash savings in your 2019 NIA declaration, correct?
Nu.
No, I didn't.
Okay. Section C of the NIA declaration requires listing cash savings that are not in a bank account if they're greater than 15 average salaries in the economy. Is that correct?
Yes, if you are reading from the law, yes, it's definitely correct.
Right. Cash in national currency and or in foreign currency that exceeds the amount of 15 average salaries in the economy and which is not subject to deposit in financial institutions and other documents incorporating patrimonial rights is to be declared. Is that correct?
Now that you are telling me, now I know, because I declared in 2019 as an income.
Okay.
All the amounts.
We're talking about cash savings, not income, not salary.
I cannot remember what exactly I had cash in that period of time. I made some calculation based on what you have presented in a table I mean, I tried to make some calculation. I cannot give you the concrete amounts if that was the amount I had to declare.
Okay. 15 average salaries in 2020 was about 120,000 lei, correct?
Yes, possible. I didn't make calculations.
Okay. So if you had 189,000 lei in cash when you signed your 2019 declaration in March of 2020, it should have been disclosed as cash, correct?
I am, first of all, not sure that this was the exact amount. I started to do these calculations only after you asked me and you showed me those tables. I never calculated. It was something 91,000 here. I tried to calculate the part with the credit of 89,000, and it was based all on what you have showed me. I tried to do some math here, but this is only approximate. I cannot guarantee that this is 100% the amount that had to be declared. I think if I didn't declare it at that time, I guess it was a smaller amount. But it's very difficult to me to tell you more about those amounts for those years because it was so long ago. I always declared my income in a correct way. At least I was thinking that I declared that correctly.
Okay. And your savings that you had, am I correct that they were maintained in cash? You were not maintaining savings in a financial institution, is that correct?
No. Yes, absolutely. Only cash at home.
All right. So if your husband's pension and salary for 8 months of 2020 were applied to the payments, so 8 months of that times 20,021 lei would have been about 160,000 lei, and his remuneration as an attorney was another 6,500 lei. For the 8 months of 2020, that would have been about 167,000 lei, which leaves another 130,000 for you to come up with to make the payment to pay off the loan in 2020. What funds were used to cover that portion?
It was his pension and my income, and the income of our son. Because we were 3 people contributing to the coverage of that loan.
Okay. Is there anything you wish to add or clarify about this issue?
No, I believe I answered to all the questions.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the translation.
She believes she answered to all the questions. Can you hear us, Victoria?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
And you did not declare your son's 150,000 lei contribution in your 2020 NIA declaration. And in your explanation in the 3rd round of questions to the Commission, you explained that you didn't think of these contributions as donations. And you also indicated that, again, the issue of the substantial difference exceeding 20 average monthly salaries per economy, and you also stated that your son was not part of the family members and you didn't have to declare income from him, and You further explained that you didn't declare funds from your relatives in your NIA declarations because you thought they were part of legal transactions such as financial aid in payment of a third party, and therefore these would be excluded. According to your explanations, you're not declared the donations because it doesn't constitute income within the meaning of the civil law that needs to be declared. Please confirm that you did not declare the 150,000 lei contribution from your son to pay off the loan in your 2020 NIA declaration.
No, I haven't declared because according to Article 4, to which I referred previously, they were not supposed to be declared.
Law number 133/2016, which was in effect in 2020, subpart 4, requires a declarant to disclose income gained by the subject of the declaration together with their family members or cohabitant in the previous fiscal year. There is an exception for presents, services, and/or advantages received by the subject of the declaration free of charge from his or her family members, parents, siblings, or children whose individual value does not exceed 10 average national salaries. Those gifts are exempt from disclosure. Article 2 of that law defines income as any financial benefit, irrespective of its source of origin, gained by the subject of the declaration and by the family members or by the cohabitant of the person concerned, both in the country and abroad. And in 2020, 10 average monthly salaries was approximately 80,000 lei. Do you believe you are not required to declare the 150,000 lei monetary contributions from your son under that law? If not, why not?
I have explained Article 4. So it is considered that you do not have to declare the gifts that that are not going over 10 average salaries, and it was not going over 10 average salaries at that time, because 10 average salaries in that year, if I'm not mistaken, was approximately 160 something thousand. So it was almost 170,000 lei in that year, and this was under.
Okay, I believe, and I may be incorrect, but I believe in 2020, 10 average monthly salaries was approximately 80,000 lei.
This was in 2020. In 2020, it was higher. I think it was over 160,000, from my knowledge.
Okay. We may disagree here. Is there anything you wish to add or clarify with respect to this issue?
With non-declaration, as I said, I think I interpreted the law the way that I did, and maybe looking back, this was a mistake. I had to clarify, and I always tried to be as honest and as correct as possible and credible. And when you make a declaration, and I was always thinking about the society because it's a public information, and I was thinking also about those inspectors from the entity that is verifying this, and if I don't have an official agreement, donation, I mean a paper of the donation with parents, with my son, and as long as I don't have any confirmative documents on that money, I thought that I will not be able to apply, to talk about this in my declaration because I don't have physical proofs. And as I said, I was always saving, and I had always had this support from my parents. And these amounts, they were not going over a certain amount. Our expenses were never more than our income. It was impossible because we always had savings. And for me, to be honest, it was not credible to see loans from your parents. In our culture, this is unbelievable. It can be, you cannot speak about a donation or a credit between parents and sons and parents, us and our parents. And when people would declare that, to me, that was always a reason to believe that people are trying to hide something. I always thought that it's a family thing. You support each other. It's cultural. I always wanted to be credible, and that's why I didn't think of making those agreements. And for me, the image of my family and the image of my professional life is very important. And maybe it was a mistake from my side to have this mentality. But I am repeating, I never trusted those people who were making those documents within the family. And knowing that, people that know me know that I live a modest life. I don't have huge finances and big spendings. I never had spendings that would go over my income. That's why I believed that it was correct to declare as I was declaring.
Yeah, I believe a commission member has a question on this.
Yeah, Nadia has a question, so Nadia, go ahead.
Madam Cupcea, just to clarify something, we are speaking about the donation from 2020. Am I right? The donation of 150,000 lei. And the member of the commission asked you why you did not declare. And you said that it's smaller than the average, 10 average salaries. But please, let's remember how much was. According to what data do you come with this figure of more than 160,000? Because I have official data, and it's approximately 80,000 lei, the amount of 10 average salaries, and Madam Hanley actually presented you this. And if you say that it was a different amount, please tell us what is the basis of that. Maybe I didn't calculate right. Was it 7,000? Wasn't it 9,000 lei, the average salary?
7,953 lei in 2020.
I see. Maybe then it was my mistake. I don't know. I believed it was 9,000 something at that point. It's my mistake.
Yeah, go ahead, Victoria. I think no further questions from you, Nadia? No. Okay, go ahead, Victoria. Yeah.
So I have one last issue, which has to do with the failure to declare bank accounts in 2013 through 2015. The issue I will refer to is related to non-disclosure of bank accounts in your annual declarations for 2013 to 2015. And I'm going to refer to your bank accounts as 2009 bank account 1, and to your husband's bank accounts as 2012 bank account 1, 2012 bank account number 2, 2015 bank account number 3, and 2015 bank account number 4. In the materials we furnished you today is a table under issue 5 that provides the account details in order for you to be able to identify them. In your NIA declarations for 2013 through 2015, you did not declare any bank accounts opened in yours or your husband's name. In the period of 2013 to 2015, you did not disclose the following bank accounts. For 2013, there were 3 bank accounts. One bank account 2009, number 1 opened in your name, and 2 in your husband's name, bank account number 12-1 and bank account number 12-2. For year 2014, you did not disclose 3 bank accounts, the same 2 that I just referred to. And for 2015, you did not disclose 5 bank accounts. Bank account number 1 for 2009 opened in your name. Bank account number for 212, number 1 in your husband's name. Bank account number 212, number 2 in your husband's name. Bank account number 2015, number 3 opened in your husband's name, and bank account 2015, number 4 opened in your husband's name. When asked in written questions about your failure to disclose bank accounts, you stated that it was not necessary to declare these accounts as they were accounts opened by your employer on which you received salary and which do not fall under the legal norms, being necessary to declare only the income from these accounts, which you have done. And when asked in written questions about your failure to disclose bank accounts opened in the name of your husband, you stated that it wasn't necessary to declare these accounts as well because they did not fall under the legal norms, as these are accounts opened by the employer on which your spouse received salary and the account on which he received his pension, and the account without financial assets on which your husband made loan payments. Because they do not fall under the legal norms, it was necessary to declare only the income from these accounts, which you have done. Please confirm that you did not disclose the bank accounts belonging to you and your husband as I described.
No, I haven't declared them. You're right.
Okay. Under Article 4, Paragraph 1, Letter D of Law Number 1264/2002 that was in force until August 1st of 2016, the subject of the declaration had the obligation to declare to NIA all financial assets, i.e. bank accounts, investment funds, equivalent forms of saving and investing, investments, bonds, checks, bills of exchange, loan certificates, other documents incorporating the patrimonial rights of the declarant and his family members, direct investments in national currency or in foreign currency made by him or his family members, as well as other official assets. Do you believe that you are not required to declare the bank accounts under that law? And if not, why not?
As I said, I did not believe that these are financial assets. So if, according to the law, I had to declare them, I can say that the expression financial assets was confusing for me, because to me, financial assets mean something like opening an account and then you put some money on that account and you expect to have income, like a deposit, like my parents used to do in the Soviet times. For me, that means financial asset. When I personally open an account and I expect to receive, so it's kind of a deposit account. But if someone asked me to open an account just for me to be paid my salary, this is a technical thing. I mean, we could not receive cash, and the moment we receive on our card, we would put our signature there, but I never considered that account as an account that I have to declare. It was just a technical way to receive my salary, and I was using that account for paying the loan. I never considered that as and I never considered that that amount should be declared as a financial asset for me. I mean, if, for example, I had a safe, yes, in a bank, or a deposit box in a bank, like what people used to keep very expensive stuff, yeah, jewelry or money or big amounts, it has a certain value, and then I have to declare that because these are like expensive amounts, but I do not declare the number of my safe or my saving box. And this is how I understood this, because the title in the declaration, the title is financial assets. And then, of course, you have the description like investments, and there is the declaration for 2011, 2012, and in those years I have declared in this chapter, financial assets, I declared the investments that I have included in the construction of the extension of my flat. So I included that. But again, if to speak about those accounts that you mentioned, these I saw them only as a technical mean to receive my salary. I never saw it as a financial asset. So I believed that financial assets is something that I open and I place money in the bank. But I didn't do that. That was just a tool for me to get paid my salary. That's why I didn't declare that.
Okay, and the law defines financial assets. The first part of the definition is bank accounts. Was there anything in the law that refers to the value of what's in the bank accounts that would affect the disclosure obligation in the law that was in effect up until 2016?
Yes, those values I would declare the incomes from the accounts, but not the accounts themselves. So I would declare the income on that I had, but I didn't declare the exact figure of the account, because I believed, as I said, this is a tool to be paid salary. For this year, yes, I will declare, because I didn't know that I have to declare that.
Okay. Is there anything you wish to add or clarify with respect to this issue?
That's it.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
And I'm just looking around whether any of the other colleagues, that doesn't seem to be the case. That brings us nearly to the end of the hearing. As per usual, we would like to give you the opportunity now to make a brief closing statement if you would like so. So please go ahead.
Vă mulțumesc.
Thank you very much. In all this period, I understood that I am in the situation when I came to the conclusion that it's not enough to be a fair person. I understand that now I have to have proofs that I am a fair person. And to the Honorable Commission, my intention was to bring those arguments although not enough maybe, that all the money that I gathered in my life, in my work activity, is accumulated only from income that is obtained 100% in a legal way. I never had the need to have more than I have. And during my whole life, in general, and in my activity as a judge specifically, I fully respected the legislation and I had a decent behavior because it was important for me to keep the good image of myself, of my family, and of the justice system. And recently, I was consulting my son over the phone, and I found a message. I actually looked into the phone of my son and I saw a message when he met a girl and he was talking with that girl, and I read that chat. And when my son was asked by that girl, who are your parents and who are they working, and my son's answer was, I will not tell you about my parents' profession because you will believe that my parents have extra money, but we are living in a very modest way and we are not those who have loads of money because of this profession. I can show you this message because it brought tears to my eyes when I saw his message, and I kept it. And this message means a lot. I was very proud of my son when he said that. I was so proud, and I thought that I raised a good son. Because I never wished to bring any prejudice to the image of my family.
That's all, thank you. I would like to congratulate you on the upcoming winter holidays. I know we will not meet before that, so I wish you all a long life, happy life together with your beloved people, and good luck to you in everything you do in this titanic job that you have to fulfill.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your closing comments. I also would like to thank you for all the answers to the questions that the Commission had. As per usual now, the Commission will withdraw for deliberations, and we will try as much as possible to strive at delivering a decision within a month from the date of this hearing. Thank you very much, and hereby I declare this hearing closed. Thank you.